Is the impossible turn really impossible?
Welcome to the Safer Pilot Challenge.
MzeroA Online Ground School, what is happening? It is day 2 of the 31-day Safer Pilot Challenge. You came back for more. Who's 2 for 2? Awesome job to you all. Hey, thanks so much for making MzeroA Online Ground School truly one of the best. You love these free videos we put out here on YouTube? Wait until you see inside the Online Ground School. You know, Online Ground School members score 6 points higher on the national average on their FAA written tests. MzeroAtrial.com to check it out. Hey, let's talk for a moment about the impossible turn. Then I'm going to show you something, and then I want to take you back to the studio to break it down even further. Is the impossible turn impossible? The answer is it depends. Here is my opinion, and you feel free to debate, challenge, whatever you want to do in the comment section below. I am open-minded and can take any kind of constructive criticism. Here is my opinion. I teach, and you have to remember, when we teach, and I just teach to cameras now, but when I teach people with 0 hours and thousands of hours. And I always teach, listen, if you're below 1,000 feet AGL, you're going straight ahead, maybe 30 degrees that way, 30 degrees that way. But essentially that's it. You are not attempting to turn back. Because as I'll show you, it's not just a 180 degree turn. A 180 degree turn, all that does is turn you back around, and that puts you on a downwind. It's really like a, more than that, it's a 230 degree turn to get you back, and then you got to line back up with the runway again. It's this teardrop approach. And there's so many factors that go into it, by the way. Is it August or is it February when this happens? Because density altitude is very different in those 2 months. Is it just you on board with half tanks, or is it you on board at max gross weight? Do you have a headwind? Because if you have a really strong headwind, you're going to all of a sudden turn into a really strong tailwind. There are too many factors to say, yes, it can happen every time. And I know, people say, I know I can do it if I have at least 700 feet. Maybe that works in February, but that will not work in August in Sedona. Does that make sense to everybody? So you can't just have this end-all, be-all rule. It's just safest to say, if I'm below 1,000 feet, I'm going left or right, maybe about 30 degrees, or obviously straight ahead. I know it's not always the best option based on the airports you fly out of, but that's how you need to be thinking. A turn back rarely ends in a success. So I want to demonstrate that for you. We are at 3,500 feet. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to simulate like we're taking off. And then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to climb up to like 500 feet. I'm going to fail the engine. I'm going to give a, hey, what just happened kind of factor. And then we'll make the turn back around and see how we do. So let me slow this thing down, because we're going to make this realistic as possible here. Be mindful I got this cloud deck a good way, about a half, 3/4 of a mile off that way, but that's fine. I'm going to slow us down to 3,500 feet. 180 south is my heading. I'm going to slow myself down on my rotation speed, very similar to how I would like setting up for a power on stall. I want to make this as realistic as possible here. Holding. All right. Waiting for it, getting to my rotation speed. I want to make this as realistic as possible. Here comes my rotation speed of about 65. Full power. We're climbing on out, team. Oh, everything's looking great. Engine gauges are great. We've rotated. We're climbing out. I've got a nice little VX climb going out. Looking good. I know I'm already at altitude, so you could argue, performance-wise and everything else. It's a normal Florida day here. I'm climbing out 700 feet per minute, so life is good. Let's get up to 4,000 feet, and I'm going to simulate it, fail the engine here. We're climbing on out. Everything's good. We're just watching it. Our engine gauges, all green, looking great. Climbing out. Remember, we took off 180, so I need to get back to a 360, but actually past a 360 to take an angle towards my fictitious runway. All right, here it comes. Right at 4,000 feet, we'll say. Wait for it. There's 4,000 feet. Watch this. Bring the power back. I'm going to give it like 3 seconds of what just happened. 1, 2, 3. Okay, my engine quit. Oops, look at my airspeed. Saltwater helmet's count. I got to nose down to keep this airplane flying. and I got to bring this thing around. Now I'm keeping it coordinated. By the way, I'm at about a 45-degree bank right now. 3,800 is my altitude right now. 3,700. 45 degrees of bank, got to keep that positive airspeed. Coming around, 3,600. All right, and that's north, by the way, but I need to keep coming around to make back to my runway. And I hate to break it to you, but there's 3,500, and I've just completed my turn. Now, don't forget, I still need to make another turn this direction. Now, let's say, to get back around, let's see where I end up on north at making a 250-foot hole in the ground is what I really just did. Let me baby my engine a little bit with some carb heat, and I'm going to duck over this way and talk to you just a little bit more here. It's called the impossible turn for a reason, Mzeroanation. And actually, if I could, I just want to hit 3 more key points. Just bear with me here. But could we head back to the studio? I want to draw something for you real quick. Let's go to the studio and let me draw something for you.
All right, MzeroA, so back in the studio, and unfortunately for you all, you got to bear with my drawing for just a second. It's not that good, but I want to show something to you here quickly over on the whiteboard. Coach Ray did an amazing job animating this, but I want to take this just a step further. So let's just say, hypothetically, none of this is going to be to scale. I apologize in advance. Let's just say, hypothetically, this is the runway we just took off of. We know that we always take off into the wind. So let's say we are taking off perfectly into the wind. We take off. Our engine quits somewhere about here, 500, 600 feet roughly. Like we showed you, you start to make that turn. But what happens when I start making this turn and I now have a crosswind? You see, I'm going to drift even closer, not realizing it, and maybe end up more like over here. And then as I make that turn, remember back to your turns around to point training, you're making a very aggressive turn, or your S-turns across a road training. You're making a very aggressive turn with the wind pushing you as well. You're gonna end up more like here. By the way, what happens to your glide ratio when you have a tailwind compared to a headwind? So think about that aspect of it as well. And again, after all that is said and done, you're still just over here on that downwind. You realistically need to cut in almost another 45 degrees just to get there. And then, by the way, did you want to line up with the runway too? Because after that, I then need to make an additional right-hand turn to line up with my runway there again. Another thing to think about is, and I know, like I shared in the video, someone will comment, hey, I can do it in my airplane at 600 feet. And maybe that's true. But is it just you on board with half tanks in December? Because I would argue you'd get a very different result if you try to do that in the heat of July or August with 4 people on board, your little 172 or 182, and full tanks, just say at maximum gross weight. You may get a very different result. So that's how I want you to think about it and focus on that. Hey, who's 2 for 2 in the 31-day Safer Pilot Challenge? Let me know in the comments down below. Hey, share this message with somebody that needs to hear it. Don't forget about our online ground school. You love the free videos we put out here? Imagine how good the paid videos are. Head on in MzeroAtrial.com to check it out, learn more, see why the best just keeps getting better. Have a blessed, abundant, outstanding rest of your day. I'll see you all tomorrow, and most importantly, remember, the good pilot is always learning. Have a great day, everybody. We'll see you. See and hear your favorite check ride examiner's questions before the actual test. All available to you as a paperback if you wish, but I recommend grabbing the audiobook as well from anywhere audiobooks are sold. You can listen to it where I ask a question, pause for a second, let you think about the correct answer in your mind, then share with you that correct answer. So you can really immerse yourself in the weeks and days and hopefully months leading up to your check ride.